Hi, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the coronavirus. That hopefully I'm not going to talk about any of the fabulous cures that are there, and there are so many out there. But then there's a doctor that's come from America, or is in America, and she has gone on YouTube and made a video discounting all of them, from blowing hot air up your nose to drinking hot water, to holding your breath and seeing if you have to cough. They're all there, and she's pretty well discounted everyone, so taken all our hope away. But I think there is one good piece of news that we have from our own personal experience, and that is our friend Barry. Barry is abroad, far away. Gotta be honest, it's far enough away to be sure that he's on another continent. Okay, so we didn't want to release all kinds of personal information, but he did come to visit us, and we became good friends and had many enjoyable conversations. And then he, during one of his communications, we communicate on Messenger, and he said that he had been diagnosed with corona. Now, Barry had been doing a lot of traveling, so goodness knows where he picked that up, but pick it up he did, and he was confined, confined. Okay, so he went through the thing of being diagnosed as being positive. So you've got to assume then that he had the coronavirus. So he stayed at home, I think pretty religiously, as you would do if you had actually been diagnosed. I mean, it's one thing to be aware of this thing, and it's quite another to be told that you've got it. Now, the good news is, of course, that he got in touch recently, I think maybe a week or 10 days ago now, and said, I'm in the clear. So what had been happening there was that the local government, once someone was diagnosed and put on lockdown, which they obviously would take very seriously, they put on lockdown, and they send somebody round every day. So they keep a good check. I don't know what, actually at the time that he was diagnosed, there was no, well, there still is no vaccine. There's still no real recommended treatment. If you've got access to oxygen, then you're lucky. If it starts to get acute, I've seen one video of a lady which she permitted to be on video on YouTube, and she was on oxygen and she was having great difficulty breathing, so it was very unpleasant. Don't know how she didn't hear anything else again, but she just made it real. So another friend of mine, Roger and Bing, they're responsible for getting information out as well. They have a channel called Bingula Travels, and is that the name of that, Beth? Yeah, it's Bingula Travels, and they just sent me a thing. Let me see if I can find it. They sent me a link for a YouTube not a YouTube channel, a YouTube it's a YouTube movie. It's actually it's called, well, it's the 1918 Spanish flu historical documentary, Swine Flu Pandemic, Deadly Plague of 1918. Well, as I'm on video, you can go back and do that, but it said the deadliest plague of the 20th century, Spanish flu of 1918. Now, it's not that I want everybody to start getting so scared about this that it goes beyond reason. But I watched that documentary and I was appalled because the Spanish flu, as it was called then, it swept across the entire world. Not something that any of us want to hear, but it did show a map of the world. And 1918 was right around the time when the war, the 1914-18 war was being fought. So particularly in America, which is where the documentary was made, from America, I believe, it did show how the movement of troops over the world made this thing worse. So you've got these hundreds of troops being sent to various parts of the world, and they're stopping on the way, and they're being crammed onto troop ships, which the conditions on troop ships are, believe me, it's not a cruise ship, okay, and they were crammed in together. As soon as anybody starts coughing, it spreads. And in the case of Spanish flu, as it was called, it spread and could kill the same day. You could count it, you could get it in the morning, and you could be dead by midnight. That was the hard reality of it. Now the thing is, it's not going to do you any harm to have a look at that. So if you're having trouble getting a sense of reality on this, that would be a good place to start, because it showed how it comes to a point where there is hardly anything that anybody can do. People were burying their own dead. They couldn't expect anybody else to do it. They were burying their own dead. No coffins. They would be buried in the clothes that they died in, just sewn up in a sheet, and after a while they would bury more than one in the same grave. Now the mass grave thing is not new, let's face it. That's been used by in all kinds of war conditions, and really a really severe plague is a little bit like the war, a condition of war. Right, now Roger said something which got me to watch that documentary. He said it really gave us a reality on what we're up against. So as much as the coronavirus has been compared to various other pandemics, 1918 pandemic is a good place to start. As I said, it does give you an idea of how easy it is to contract it from someone. So if you're out there, and this is the way that I looked at it, we've been out twice in, I think, 3 weeks. for something that we had to have. We had to get the maintenance medication for Nanai's high blood pressure, and the other time we had to go to the bank and we had to make sure that we had enough money so we wouldn't have to go in again, and that was it. Now, we didn't feel comfortable. We have, as you probably have seen on one of our other videos, we've had there's about 7 or 8 families who for some time now have been depending on us for a basic box of groceries, right? One of them is the blind man Urbano. How can we not help him? So we did go, but we went in the Raptor, which is a very good sealed, it's sealed, quiet, AC, which we can keep ourselves insulated as good as it can be. We went down, we got money, we went to the Sari Sari store, we called out the window, he came and he put the stuff in the back. Even that has an element of risk in it, because if you're handed stuff now, you're, like for instance, if you have somebody knock on the door and they come with a parcel, then you get them to put it down and then you leave it there for a couple of days. Is probably about the best you can do. Or you can go and you can spray it with alcohol. But anyway, you have to adopt really severe, really strict ways of going about it. You've got to keep washing your hands. All these things, I don't have to tell you this. You've been told these all along. We used masks. We put the stuff there and let them come and get it. We didn't go within a mile of them, a couple of meters, right? And even when we go out, we've got our close family that we're close to, and they are the people that kind of you're in the boat, really, aren't you, for that? If you're married, you're in the boat. If you've got children, you're in the boat, and you have little choice. You cannot completely separate yourself. You cannot be completely isolated. I can go out for a walk and not see more than 2 or 3 people, and they flash by me on a motorcycle or on a carabao, and I can keep well away, and I'm not going to have any exchange with them. And I now, even when I go on my walk now, I have a mask. So you can do that. But you've got to make sure that you have your rules, and that's what we've been doing. Now, I've seen others where it's been a case of they're going around and asking questions and saying, you know, so how's business going and all of that. I'm not inclined to afford myself the what can we say, the privilege of thinking that I can do that without either transmitting the disease, for all I know, or receiving it, getting infected. The idea of the lockdown is that it's going to, the virus will die out simply because it doesn't have anybody to carry it anywhere. It doesn't travel on its own very well. So if you don't go out, if you keep your loved ones close to you, and you make sure that there are no visitors. Even we have extended family that live far away from us, right? When I say far away, a couple of miles is far away, isn't it? So we have brothers and sisters who are far, and they're going to stay far. We're not going to see them, they're not going to come and see us. We have Nanai, who is the elder of the family, and I'm getting there myself as well. So we, Nanai and I are at more risk. I don't think that they know everything that has to be known about this, not by any means at all. You know, looking at that movie there of the 1918 virus, that took out people in their 20s, 20 to 30s. That's a lot of them there. And of course that's got far-reaching ramifications, because what would happen then, it quickly, once people start to die who are close to you, then you'll suddenly get the urgency. Right, now in the case of the 1918 Spanish flu, it became quickly known by everybody, no matter how ignorant they were. They quickly found out when somebody was well when they saw them yesterday, and today in the evening they're dead. You get real. So you got to get real. Maybe looking at that thing will help you to get real. And people very quickly got real. Now, trouble is that people in the 20s, 20 to 30s, they were leaving children, and these poor kids were dying of starvation, because once the parents died, everybody was afraid to touch the children. This is how bad it got. In other words, it got very real. So, good luck. Our friend Barry, we're very happy that you're through this, Barry. Just remember, you know, it doesn't mean that you're immune for the rest of your life. You still got to keep on with the same precautions. That's a bitter pill to swallow. Okay, take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye for now. Stay real.